Oh yeah, so the problem today was that actually it was a problem that started last night when I noticed that the things in my freezer weren't actually frozen anymore. So this is the
Oh
the freezer in
no.
in my upstairs. So yeah, the refrigerator is I I don't know about you guys, but when the refrigerator tells me that it's 36 degrees Fahrenheit and it's actually, 40 something, it means that the refrigerator is probably on its way out. And the freezer was not exactly being cooperative either. So yeah, it's a
Done.
problem. Yeah, it's pretty much
Yikes.
done. So it's 3 years old. It's got a 5-year warranty on it. Of course, what do? Is I call up the place where I bought it. I'm just like, hey, there's a problem with this freezer, and refrigerator is also on its way out. So I'm gonna need somebody to come over here and take a look at this, or just yeah, I need some help here. And they're like, oh yeah, of course. You know what? We'd be happy to oblige. How does the end of August sound for you?
Oh shit.
What?
So yeah, imagine a world in which DrNiggle doesn't have a refrigerator in which to keep beer.
Oh God.
Oh. Oh.
So I lost my temper a little bit.
Oh.
Um,
Well, yeah.
so there's a guy coming over Wednesday morning.
That's more acceptable.
That's
Yeah.
definitely better than August.
What even the fuck answer was that? Mid-August. Okay, I know. No, basically nobody has a refrigerator anymore, right? We live in a post-consumer society where everyone just goes out to eat. There's no such thing as going out to buy a fridge. Nobody owns one. Nobody owns a stove or a sink for that matter. So I know that nobody can really sympathize with my situation. I get that I'm alone here. I'm just gonna go out on a limb, but come the fuck on. Yeah, so that is a hard reminder that customer loyalty has been dead probably since 1997, and nobody really gives a shit, unless you raise holy hell and make them feel like a degenerate human being, or treat them like they were raised in some shame-based household. So, yeah, I don't enjoy treating people like garbage, but I'm apparently still capable of doing it.
Well, I think
Yeah,
it's
it's easy.
within us
It's easy
all.
once you remember.
It's like riding a bicycle.
Yeah.
All right, hello everybody. Welcome to the Church of Chonkwij podcast. My name is Pavlov Chekhov. Where the fuck that came from? I'm joined tonight by Masami, OmegaConstruct, Zero Burn, and special guest star Silus. Hi, Silus. How you doing? Long time no speak. Long time no podcast.
Long time no anything.
Yeah, what have you been up to? You haven't. I haven't seen you on playing anything. The last time you were on, you were playing Genshin Impact.
Yeah. I haven't been on much lately. Things have been busy. The easiest way I can put that.
Did your PSU burn out, and then you called the factory to get a replacement, and they told you sometime in mid-August?
No. No, work's just tried to burn me up and fucking, you know, use me until I don't work no more.
Oh yes.
I know that feeling.
So, yeah.
Yeah. Speaking of work, all of us took a moment out of our busy daily schedules on Saturday, and we watched TennoCon, or bits of TennoCon. I don't really remember much of it. And there were an awful lot of brand new things that came out in TennoCon. A lot of spoilers, a lot of teasers, a lot of additional warframes. So we did a whole podcast last week that was warframe related. It did not go up onto the YouTube channel because I was a moron and switched Discord to run into administrator mode. And so OBS wasn't picking up my microphone whenever I wasn't focused on it, as was pointed out by Kosen, who was watching the stream. Hi, Kosen. And yeah, so stand back. We're going to do it again.
Hopefully this time with more audio.
Hopefully this time with significantly more audio and the presence of Kirby. Hey, Kirby. Kirby's in the audience.
Hey, Kirby.
Kirby.
Oh, let's see. But yeah, Warframe came out. Finally, the game is here.
After all these years.
For all these.
After all these long years of being teased, actually, I guess the big thing that was announced is the new war. So they have, I don't know if that's a continuation of the quest line or a cap on the quest line. It's probably just a continuation. But yeah, we're looking at a brand new quest line. It's single player, but you will be playing through the eyes of a Grenier, through the eyes of a Corpus, and you will have playable Teshin. So that's what was teased. And the other big thing that was teased that Silus and I spoke a little bit about was cross-save and cross-play have been promised. So let's start with cross-play and cross-save. Who wants to play this on Xbox while the rest of us are on PC?
If you buy me an Xbox, I will do it.
Okay, I'll write it down. I'll put it on the Christmas list that I will then
Thank you.
promptly forget about.
And no one is surprised.
No,
No.
I'm happy with not being on console anymore, but I'm pretty sure I could find some, family members who may be interested in partaking.
And
No, go ahead, Masami.
I actually have a few friends who play on PS4, and ironically enough, some of them are my former WoW guildies, so it'll be interesting to play with old people again on a different game. Though I have demanded that they fucking get a Discord because I'm not downloading the PlayStation app just to talk to their asses.
Yeah, no, fuck that.
Yes, along those lines, I thought it's a nice step in the right direction, so to speak, because it has the capability to bring people from multiple platforms together so they can play with each other, and cross save as a feature also means that people aren't locked into a single platform anymore. So Silas made the point the other day that if he can play on PC when he's at home, or he can play on Switch while he's at work, or on break at work.
Yep. Or when I get on lockdown at work because there's a fucking hurricane about to fucking jack Florida in the ass, and I get stuck there for 3 days straight. And well, I have access to Wi-Fi and power, so when I'm not working, Warframe.
Oh, Florida.
It'll be interesting to see what they do about people who have previous accounts and how that syncs. Like, for instance, Cozen started on PlayStation before we realized there was no cross-play or cross-save, and or both really. So it'll be interesting to see how they combine accounts and what they do with the because like there's PlayStation specific shinies and how that will
Yeah.
translate.
Yeah, that's something that was brought up by community members, I think, on Twitter. They had a live Twitter feed going on throughout TennoCon. That was something that was brought up by one of the players. Specifically, they said that cross save was a huge deal to them because they had an 8-year-old console account or a 6-year-old console account or something, and yeah, they've always wanted to get all their stuff back and play on PC, and hasn't really been possible except for one or two very specific, very special occasions until now. So that's nice.
Well,
Cross save is a
it's
nice
like-
thing to see.
Well, it was like I was telling Silas before everybody got here. It's going to be very interesting to see what other Warframe-ish Destiny games are affected by the fact that there is now cross save and cross play enabled.
Sure, yeah. Oh, but you guys are due on the Ropa Lowlist fight.
We are.
You trying to get a Wisp?
I'm trying to get my Wisp.
Nice.
I've gotten Protea, I've gotten Inaros, and I've gotten Necros in the last 2 days.
This is probably not a great podcast topic conversation, but where do you get Necros?
Oh God. I
don't
don't
remember.
remember.
I don't remember at all either. He's the one frame I can never remember where you get him.
Lafontaine.
Necros is
Lafontis, that's right.
We just did it yesterday.
I know.
How'd you forget what it is?
Because my brain.
Witchcraft.
Yeah, well, that too. But I'm also training for a new job, so they're shoving shit in my brain that like doesn't need to be there.
Yeah. Shoving. Sorry.
Inserting.
Well, inserting shoving.
Okay. So yeah,
Thrusting vigorously.
I remember the Ropalolist fight, and I guess it's not so bad anymore. Once you know how to do it, it's fine. Also, I don't think. Oh yeah, no. The Ropalolist fight is not nearly as bad as I remember it now because Omega and I have actually done it on Steel Path. So that's the last time that I played Ropalolist. Didn't enjoy that. Mental scars.
Yeah. I can't imagine that was a good time.
It was a lot of catch moon. There's a lot of catch moon and running out of ammo. Oh, yeah, okay. So cross-save, cross-play on Warframe coming soon. TM.
I think what's
I
most
think we'll see
interesting about
cross
this-
save first.
It's possible that we're not going to get both at once, and that they'll roll one out and then do the other just so they can say, hey, look, we're making progress and we're delivering. But yeah, Omega.
What's really interesting about this is that it's a big departure from the development cycle for this game. This means that all updates are now going to be coming out for all platforms at the same time, every time. It also means that there's going to be even less testing and quality control of updates and fixes and changes before they're rolled out, where basically the entire player base is now going to be the live testers. What I'm actually most curious about is how they're dealing with the Xbox Store and the PlayStation Store when dealing with certification, because the whole reason that PC was the testing ground for everything was because the Xbox and PlayStation stores were like, hey, this game is too crappy to put these updates on here before they're actually tested. And PC's the Wild West. So that's what I find most interesting, is that it's representing a big departure from DE's past methodology.
Yeah, I had asked a similar question, but mine was phrased towards. Well, okay, I had a question. Silus had an idea, and you reiterated both in one. So yeah, my question was: are we going to have one update a month, or is the day of, or the days of are the days of PCs getting hot fixes day after day after day gone? Or are we just going to get one update pretty much a month, and if we have bugs, then we just deal with the bugs for a month until the next update Tuesday. Go to the Blizzard cycle again. Or...
Well, is there something preventing them from getting more frequent updates on other platforms? Like, because they could do some sort of hybrid type thing where, you know, big content drops are released across all platforms, but then they, you know, maybe the other platforms will have to deal with things a little. Well, no, because if crossplay happens, then it will have to be stable. So, yeah, that is. I don't imagine DE being able to get things right well enough that they won't need constant hotfixes.
Absolutely not.
So
yeah, there will always be a need in this game for hotfixes. That's why a PC client exists in the first place. I agree.
And yeah, so unless they figured out a way to get the console markets to allow them to do that without the rigors of certification as they previously were, it's hard to say. Like, Lord knows it's going to be massively negative if they just don't fix things between updates.
And the other In the vein of intense speculation here, you could have one mainline update per month, and they could keep on trying to do hotfixes on just one of those platforms. I am not sure. Silus mentioned this the other day. They have redone, or they've reconfigured their backend netcode, so it could actually be possible for them to have one mainline update that all the clients are sharing, and then hotfixes don't actually.
Limits.
Yeah, like a
Yeah,
background push kind of deal.
yeah. It might be possible. I don't think so, but I don't know. Obviously,
Unless they
their
reworked
netcode
a
is
new deal.
proprietary.
Yeah, unless they reworked a new deal with PlayStation and Microsoft, and well, Nintendo didn't give them as many problems for some reason, but
Yeah, and that was what you said yesterday, Silas. Is if they came up with a new deal, and they went to PSN and they went to the Xbox store and they said, "Hey, there are like almost 80 million people registered playing our game across all networks. Like we're extremely popular. We're pushing Fortnite." They could say that, doesn't have to be true necessarily, or technically true, but maybe they did come up with a deal where they're just like, okay, we're going to push updates more frequently on your store, and we understand that you have to test stuff, but hey, give us a little bit of priority, and maybe we'll cut you in on the microtransactions or some shit like that. Who knows?
Yeah, I think it was brought up by either Omega or Masami how much money they had to have thrown at PlayStation for PlayStation to agree to this.
Actually, I'd imagine that it was easier to convince PSN to do it by throwing money at them than it was Xbox. Just because Sony has never been in a good place, budget-wise, and Microsoft could give a shit less, because they're swimming in money.
yeah. So Sony's money is not good. That's a reason I don't own Sony stock anymore.
Oh, God.
Good point.
What?
Fair.
Are you implying that at some point it seems like a good idea to buy stock in Sony? I'm sorry, was that before
I'm sure,
or after
I'm sure in the
2016
mid
Ghostbusters?
'90s it was like a great buy.
Oh yeah, back when when the PlayStation was hot shit and they came out with the PS2 and the PS1 Mini. Those were the glory days of Sony.
Yeah, we're past all that now.
Way past it.
And the rest of their divisions are fucking dead. Okay, the only thing carrying them is the fucking PlayStation brand, and even that can only do so much for what's going on.
Hey, now their DC comic universe isn't doing terribly. No, it is. I can't even lie.
I was gonna say, can't even say that with a straight face.
We wouldn't really know because we can't see his face.
True.
Hey, let's switch over to Zero Cam real quick. How you doing, buddy? In the middle of the rope and lowest fight, there's Zero. Back to the Omega Cam. I was real. The one great loss that we'll never have to deal with is that I never did Zero Cam last week. I regret it intensely.
Well, now here's your time to redeem yourself.
I know, yeah.
Wait. If we're gonna do this right, I need to do wardrobe changes. Give me a minute.
Oh, nice.
On
okay.
camera?
No, not on camera. What are you, crazy?
No,
Have you met me?
I mean, facts, but
I mean, I run a D&D game. You've got to be a little bit crazy to do that.
Well, I mean, not only that, but like the more and more D&D TikTok I watch, the more and more I sit there and go, "Oh God, Masami is going to kill us all."
No, you are going to kill you all. I will just I will just give you the tools to do it.
Yeah, if anyone's gonna kill us, it's gonna be me saying, "Come on, DM, we can. That's it. Just 7 monsters."
Vodak looks back and says, "Shut up, Barry."
So the mechanics of cross-save and cross-play have yet to be revealed. That's not a feature that's implemented just yet. They say that it will be implemented sometime this year. Silus brought up the other day that they will probably roll one out first and then the other.
We're
which
good,
I,
Omega.
Is most likely.
yeah, I think
Are you done?
cross save coming first would make sense.
Yeah.
Is that all your Ropalolis parts? Or
That's
your
it,
Wisp
man.
parts? All right.
Europa low list.
The RNG gods were good to me tonight. But guess what I need? Argon.
Oh, you know.
You mean it's all gone?
Go ahead, hop into
Oh, God.
Titania. Let's do Hepit a couple times.
Ugh.
And then the other big announcement. Oh, they announced Nidus Prime, for whoever's excited about that. But
Yeah.
That's kind of cool.
Silus, who is a Nidus main.
I actually thoroughly enjoyed Nidus when I first got him back when I first started playing this game with you guys, about a year and a half ago?
He is a fun frame. He's not always conducive to group play.
Yeah, it depends on the setup.
Yeah, that's one of the issues, but otherwise, he has a unique mechanic going where you build up stacks and you use stacks to cast some of your powers.
He's also magnificent for pets. If you love pets, use Nidus.
Oh, the hell, yeah, you decked out a Helmuth Charger. You're the first person
hell
I know
yeah.
who put like 8 Forma into a Helmuth Charger.
It was 7, but yeah.
Oh man.
But my helmet pretty much doesn't die. It has to take a shit ton of damage in one hit, otherwise it just keeps going.
Yeah, right. They announced Nidus Prime, and then the other thing, the big reveal for TennoCon Live was the new war. So yeah, I imagine that people have some opinions about playing characters other than Tenno.
I think it's gonna be pretty cool. It'll be a fun diversion. I mean, it's gonna be one mission. It's gonna be like a phase of a story mission, and it'll be fun, and we'll do it, and it'll be great. But like, people who expect it to be anything more than that are just setting themselves up for disappointment.
Yep.
There's not gonna be some like new portion of the game where we play as Grenier or Teshin or no, it's going to be like a mission in or a phase of a story mission, and it'll be cool. And I've seen all kinds of comments on Reddit and shit like, "Oh, I can't wait to be able to use the new UI," and I hope they let us keep the awesome UI for all the time. And it's like, no, they're not. They're not. You're delusional if you think they are.
Yep.
It's going to be a fun mission. It's going to last about 10 minutes for each one of them. Teshin, Vero, and Call. And yeah.
Is it Vico?
Veno? Oh, Velo. That's what it is.
Yeah, it does. He's the memes took approximately 5 minutes to get out the. I saw Omega posted the Chad one, which was accurate. The Corpus guy looks kind of like a pussy, a little bit. But okay. So you're bringing that up. I went two ways with this in my mind. First of all, I thought, is it possible that they created an entire new system for people to play as a Grenier character and a Corpus character and Teshin, and they are only going to do that, New Loka on Omega, by the way, or New Loka on Zero. Is it possible that they created this whole system and they're not going to do anything with it except for this quest? Did they really do all that work just for a quest that will probably in total last an hour and a half? And then I thought to myself, is it possible that they only created the system to the extent that it could be used for a quest that lasts probably an hour and a half total? So I've kind of gone in your direction, Omega, where they did this. They made these new user interfaces, they made these new animations, and these new characters that we can play for Quest, but it might just be barely functional enough that they're only able to use that new system for the Quest. So, yeah, I don't... Right now, I don't see a way for there to be an entirely new game mode where we can keep on going back and playing these characters for whatever, our normal Star Chart missions, for example.
Well, yeah, if they do, which they might, build some recurrence to, like, some way to replay it or whatever, but it'll probably be something like it'll be something very small in scope. It's not going to be
like
the
the
kind
Granum
of thing.
Void, the special
Yeah.
deployed mode.
Exactly. I mean, it might be fun even if they what if they made that like one of the Conclave modes? Grenier versus Corpus.
Get more people on Conclave.
And it would just be
maybe.
and yeah. It would just be players on teams of Grenier versus Corpus.
The other thing that they did mention was it wasn't during TennoCon, it was during one of the dev streams right before TennoCon. Chat was asking about raids. There has been talk about putting raids or trials or whatever, clan versus clan, essentially, back into the game as it was in the dark days.
Oh my god, that's so long ago. Holy shit.
Yeah, that's now we're talking
When
like 5-6
when the star
years
chart
from PC.
was fucking flat.
Yeah, when the star chart just had all the planets lined up.
Yep.
And there was no progression, and
yeah, you just picked there was a couple of nodes, and that was really about it. He just fucking picked one.
So if just the response from Scott for the raid questions in chat was basically, yeah, we are thinking about putting raids back in, and we're thinking about developing a more modern system for them. So it's possible that DE actually is seriously considering that, and if they did, there are a whole lot of ifs in this. If they did, and if, as I said, they actually put the work into their game so that we could have these game modes where we play as a Grenier, we play as a Corpus, that could be incorporated into the raid system, where I don't know how that would make sense lore-wise, but people are playing as Grenier versus Corpus, or as, you know, Daddy Teshin is showing up to save the day or whatever. This is possible that they incorporate this game mode more into the game, but again, this is TennoCon, so they get to show us a whole bunch of stuff that may or may not be implemented this year. They say it will be, but it's DE.
It only took 2.5 years to get New War, right? I mean, you know.
Well, how long ago was it that we watched your Railjack pick you up from the surface of Deimos?
Oh, yeah.
That was when they dual teased Deimos and Railjack at the same time. And Deimos came out, and then Railjack was pretty delayed.
Going back to that, going back to the original Railjack tease, the Deimos tease, for anyone who doesn't remember, the Deimos tease was at the very end of that when your warframe was flying your Railjack home, and your operator kept on getting sucked out, and it was like, oh, what is this? This is a problem. Then all of a sudden your operator woke up on a big plane, and they were like, hey, it's a new open world. And that was what eventually became Deimos. They look exactly.
I thought it was the other way around. I thought they were showing off Deimos, and you were running around and all there. I remember it was I think it was Reb playing Mag, I believe, and she was running around. That was when everybody was hyped because that's when they first showed K Drive, and everybody was super hyped seeing K Drive for the first time. What a fucking failure of a gimmick that was. And then at the end of showing us all around Deimos and how cool the K Drive was, they were like, and now watch this. And then they turned around and the Railjack came in and pulled in and picked you up and left the planet. And that's when they flashed the Empyrean signage for the first time.
I always thought that was Fortuna. I thought that they were showing off Fortuna with the K, because K-Drive came out with Fortuna.
Oh, you're right. Yeah, no, you're totally right. I'm misremembering.
Yeah.
But there was
All put together.
demos at the end of that, or what they.
Okay, well,
What
to go back to what I originally said, that yeah, it was the Fortuna teaser that they also teased Railjack, and then Fortuna came out a long while before Railjack ever did.
Yeah.
I got my open world release wrong.
They also, when they were teasing Fortuna and Railjack, they also teased that you could have a Railjack team in orbit, and they would ask for help from a group in the open world, and you would have coordinated 4-man and 4-man teams, potentially up to 8 players performing a single task.
Yeah, they've done like a little test run on that little special thing they did. What was it, like a year ago?
Yes, yeah, it was.
And we haven't heard shit since.
Yeah, so Scarlet Spear. Speaking of Scarlet Spear, it should be coming back early next year.
Oh.
But yeah,
I think it's weird that they're going to be bringing that back, considering like they've also talked about bringing back Plague Star.
yeah.
So I wonder, because I mean, Scarlet Spear was supposed to be the replacement of Plague Star because they were tired of Plague Star giving away so much Forma.
I don't know. They could always just do a 360 or do a 180 and cancel it, and be like, no, we're not going to do Scarlet Spear again, because I can tell you, I have never had an easier time grinding arcanes than I did with Scarlet Spear, and I'm sure DE doesn't feel great about that.
Yeah, and then they flipped hard, went the other direction, and Orphix Venom was a horrible grind.
That was really something.
Orphix Venom was a terrible grind. All right, that run sucked 0. We didn't get any Argon.
No, we did not.
However, I don't actually have a however. Yeah, it's there were yeah, Masami.
I was about to say, like, compared to Orphix Venom or Scarlet Spear, I would rather do Scarlet Spear any day of the week. So
Yeah, me too.
I am
I actually
really okay
entirely
with that.
missed Scarlet Spear except for the last like day of it, literally day of it.
Yep.
I really
And I
enjoyed
went on
doing.
like 2 runs with Doc, and that's it.
I really enjoyed the sentient portion of the mission. I hardly did the ground one, but I mostly did the sentient mission, and that was fucking cool.
Yeah,
So
I kind of.
Sorry, Silus, go ahead.
No, I think I was gonna say was I kind of wish they would have taken Scarlet Spear a little bit further. They could have done more with it. It was a great tease, and it was fun, but it also showed, some capabilities that
Yeah.
they could take it further.
Yeah, especially the coordination between 2 teams, and you have 2 leaderboards, and you have basically performances based on how many key code entries you sent to a ground team and how many Orphix the ground teams destroyed. Masami,
Yep.
you did the space portion of it. I was the opposite. I did the ground team, and that is the reason why I got a 5 Forma Umbral Mesa going, is because it was the perfect opportunity to use Mesa, and I had the reason. Okay, Omega says that Orphix Venom was a horrible grind. I believe you because you played way more of that than I did. I started off, I played it maybe for a week, and I was like, this is not worth it. And also, I hate Necromechs. Or I hated having a Necromech that was, only had like 2 Forma in it or something, and we were lacking mods, basically, for Necromechs that made them fun, in my opinion. But yeah, as opposed to Scarlet Spear, where I went in with Mesa, a ground team mission to kill the maximum number of Orphix, which I think was 16, probably took you no more than 40 minutes. If you were in a good squad, you could get that cleared in 40 minutes or less. And at the end of that, you were able to buy an arcane. No question. So, for me...
I thought we did it in like 30 minutes with you.
We very well may have. At the end of that, I was just on full autopilot, and my eyes were glazed over. I hadn't blinked in days. It was... Yeah, that was really something. But
I will
the
admit
rate
that
at which you got arcanes made it feel like it was worth it, as opposed to Orphic's Venom, where you had to do at least 2-3 runs, and then you had enough to buy whatever you needed.
I will say this about doing the sentient portion of that event is I credit that event with giving me access to plenty of sentience to knock war parts out of, because I was then able to have enough to make the broken war, and then some fortunate day, a month or two now, I don't know, time's funny. We got the war blueprint, so I solely credit that event for me to actually like tap enough sentience to shake war parts out of. So
Right.
that's the fun of that. Just
As opposed to
yeah.
Orphic, I don't know if they dropped an Orphic's Venom. I didn't play nearly enough of it to have a good solid opinion or good solid knowledge of anything.
I mean,
Well,
it's
I
just,
would
The thing about Orphic's Venom, though, is that they kept it in the game now. It's just part of Corpus Railjack.
Right now,
Yep.
it's a mini mode.
I don't. It makes me wonder, like, that might never be an event again because the event has more or less just been folded into the game. There is no real sort of equivalent to that for Scarlet Spear or
I kind of wonder
Flagstar.
if I kind of wonder if maybe that's where Scarlet Spear is headed a little bit. They'll bring it back and then they'll somehow fold it into the fiction of the thing, because
Yeah.
Well, that actually might make sense because we're dealing with sentience.
they're definitely invading.
The new war is all about sentience. So that's actually an interesting thought. That could very well be the case.
'Cause they've been wanting to fold in the whole, two squad, s- maybe it's less squad A is helping squad B, but more of like you've got a whole bunch of instances peoples down on the planet, and a whole bunch of instance people up in space. Wow, I cannot talk. Jesus Christ.
Me neither. I haven't
Uh
even been drinking.
that's probably why. Um but
Are you
I
saying that
know
I'm more articulate when I'm drunk?
I mean,
No,
It's fuel.
it is. Yeah, delicious diesel.
but because I mean, I remember the first, like, when I started Warframe a little, actually about 2 years ago right now, because whenever the fuck Spider-Man Far From Home came out, which was July sometime in 2019, um when
Oh,
I
the
was making
trailer.
yep, when I was making the decision whether or not I wanted to get into another MMO like game, a bite without a subscription, which made it even more insidious and dangerous, in my opinion. Um, I watched a lot of the TennoCon footage from the TennoCon that had just come out, and that's the one where they, you know, did the whole like thing with the liches, and pursuing them into
And the
Railjack
railjack.
mission. Yep, and that whole kit and caboodle, as well as the missions where down on, like, there would be someone down on Earth or down on a planet taking out basically the generator to take down the shield on your Lich's big capital ship that you were going to go invade. They've gotten the Liches to the point where you have to go to space to defeat them. So I wonder if not integrating Scarlet Spear and its tech to do that final mission will not be the last piece to lock into place.
Right. So yeah, long and the short of that, it would be they. I remember what you watched, and I
Right.
remember how they introduced liches, and they've only just now gotten around to actually doing something that resembles that.
Yeah.
So yeah, what you say about rolling Scarlet Spear into New War, or I don't necessarily think that they'll make it a permanent game mode, but
True.
it would make sense to bring that back because that system worked
Yeah.
for all of the things that Warframe does that result in the game bugging out and us having hilarious difficulties and sometimes frustrating ones. Scarlet Spear was really put through a stress test, and
Oh yeah.
they ironed out most of those kinks in week 1, And for the
Yeah, they
rest of
did.
the time that Scarlet Spear was up, it functioned as intended.
Yep.
So they have a fully working game mode, and they know that it works. So I don't imagine that, from a production standpoint, that they would want to just ditch it entirely. Who knows? Who can say such things?
I think the other thing, and I don't quite know if we discussed it yet or not, the thing that Omega had said and Silus were both discussing, the trade the way trade would work out. With the plat and people, the marketplace, the whole 9 yards.
Yeah, trade economy is going to be interesting.
Oh, because all platforms will be accessible to all platforms?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because there are... One of the reasons that DE has used in the past for why the platforms were all separated is that for the consoles, you have to buy the platinum through the console store.
Yes.
Not directly from DE. And so the pricing structure is different, and you get a different amount of plat for your dollar spent, if I remember correctly. So that was part of the reason, and that's also part of the reason why the economies of the different platforms are so vastly different. So it's going to be interesting to see how DE addresses that, if they're going to address that, and if they don't, there's going to be a lot of people in the economies on the various console platforms who are going to have to adjust to vastly different pricing and structures and the way things work.
Unless all the PC people just start jacking up the prices. It's like, we know we can get them. Let's ask for more. They'll pay it.
Yeah, right. Because when crossplay is actually a thing, or when cross save actually becomes a thing, or both, someone is going to do the math and figure out the relative value of platinum across each platform, or what it used to be, if they haven't already done that. And so people will buy plat or trade for plat on the platinum or on the platform wherein platinum has the best value for them. So I imagine if DE doesn't address that, if they don't have a clever way to sort of balance all the economies out, that you're going to see a lot of people maybe playing on their preferred platform, but if they're serious about trading and they actually give a shit about their money, they will have an account on whatever platform the value is best at. They will do their trading through that, and then they'll go back to playing on whatever platform they prefer.
It'll be interesting to see what DE does. I mean,
yeah, it's interesting to see how they handle it.
This crossplay, cross save thing is shaking up. I mean, not to mention one thing that we haven't mentioned. Yeah, it's bad enough playing with Zero on controller all the time. We're gonna have to play with actual console plebs soon.
I said that to Silus the other day. I was like, yeah, the controller users can get steamrolled by PCMR sword and board.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to giving my former guildmates absolute fucking hell. Because they used to be sword and board PC players, and they went to the fucking PlayStation.
Oh my goodness. You can't really compare those. I know that there are arguments out there like, I'm more comfortable with controller, I can get around better with controller. Zero has a legitimate reason for using controller, but a lot of people just prefer it and they think that it's easier. The movement style does not compare. I can look around and I can move faster with a mouse and keyboard than anyone ever could with a controller, unless their controller sensitivity was jacked through the roof, in which case I imagine they'd be crashing into walls more often than not.
It's not even a matter of sensitivity. It's literally in the design of the way that a joystick works versus a mouse. A joystick has to, at its most simple, a joystick is basically an on-off switch where you move with different directions that it can move you in, and you're either moving or you're not. Now, on modern joysticks, yeah, they can detect the angle at which you're turning the. They can detect the tilt of the joystick to give you a more precise speed, but
Mouse is
the
way more precise
simple
though.
act of being able to flick your wrist across
Or
the
Right,
screen
yeah.
with
Silus said.
like you move a mouse half an inch, and that snaps your cursor across the screen.
Or
You're
your thumb.
never going to be able to match that. Yeah, or your thumb.
Oh, gee, yeah.
If you're super weird and also awesome, like Masami. But for us normal mouse users, us mere mortals of the PC Master Race, a quick flick of the wrist will nothing control. Like, it is physically impossible for a joystick to compete with the accuracy and touch and speed of a mouse.
Silus, did you know that Masami plays everything with a trackball?
True facts.
Very nice.
There was a podcast.
We made her
where
do
we
a
were
hand
watching her
stream
play.
once.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah, we had her set up a hand cam
It is
just to watch her play Warframe with a trackball.
She's some kind of freak of nature.
Yes, sirree. That's me.
So I think that was about it for TennoCon, or those were the highlights from TennoCon, at least.
Yeah, that pretty much covers it. That's like a all last week and half of this week on Warframe. Let's get some of those stories we've got building up.
Yep.
Alrighty. Switch over here.
I know Silas and I were talking about the Stream Deck. I mean deck.
Yeah.
Oh, the new Steam thingy-majiggy?
Yeah.
Yeah. The Steam Deck. That heavy ass fucking It's a portable system, but weighs like over twice as much as a fucking Switch. Yeah, that'll be comfortable for long periods.
Sure.
And it's very, very square.
Oh, Verge already has an article about why the Steam Deck won't flop like Valve Steam machines.
Or the Steam controller, or the Steam Link, or pretty much all hardware Valve has made outside of the Valve Index, which is just a very expensive VR headset that is still owned by a very small percentage. So I'm not seeing success here in hardware.
No, they really haven't had. That's the truth.
It's a good way for them to try to attempt to maybe recoup some money that they spent in already developing fucking Steam OS, but yeah.
So what Steam is talking about is beating and shipping this in time for Christmas this year, and essentially what it is, you can see on the stream right now. It does look like a Switch. It essentially looks exactly like a Nintendo Switch, but I don't think you can take it apart. It is a portable PC, legitimately in its hardware. So. Oh,
Did
look at
anyone
that.
see the memes where people were basically had photoshopped it in as a Switch Pro?
Oh my god.
Not surprising.
My Twitter feed gets real fucking interesting when news comes out. Let's just put it that way.
Well, I mean, I don't know that you're gonna see the issues in pre-orders that you'll see with, or that we've seen with the Switch OLED or the Switch Pro, as called.
Yes, because you can reserve a Steam Deck when it releases if you put down a $5 deposit. And customers were faced, quote, with multiple timeouts and error messages, and some who tried multiple times were told that they would face a delay before they could try again for attempting to make a lot of purchases in the last few hours. So Steam decided to get on top of this, regardless of how popular it turns out to be, and make it so that if you want to pre-order, you need to put down a deposit, and that's how they're gonna keep track of, I guess, ostensibly, who buys how many in an effort to prevent people from ordering multiple Steam Decks and then reselling them.
Yeah, but people are reselling their pre-orders already.
And there you go. I mean, no matter
For
what system you
inflated
come out
prices.
with, someone will invent a new form of dickery or dredge up an old gem.
Yeah.
Well, and I mean, if you go in and read the eBay terms of service, it states that you have to sell a physical product, that pre-orders and such do not count as a physical product. You have to be able to ship said product. So
Fine,
I am
then
auctioning off this deed that guarantees you the rights to my pre-order.
yeah, that's
Exactly.
right. All you have to do is sell them.
Notarized, signed, dated, sealed in a first-class signature required upon receipt envelope. That is a deliverable item.
Yeah, this is. I was gonna make the joke that fine, they sell you the pre-order and they give you a free keychain, or they sell you the keychain for $5 and they give you the pre-order. Yeah, and second of all, who has fucking time to read eBay's TOS? I mean, I shit a lot, but even I haven't gotten to the eBay TOS.
You have shitting limits?
Well, one day I'm gonna die.
Then you're gonna lose all your shit.
Yep.
Literally.
I think
they're getting worse.
Yeah, no kidding.
Never underestimate the amount of things I know that are very disgusting, and I can use in a pun all at once.
First the refrigerator, next the toilet. That's gonna be great. I can imagine calling. Do I have a warranty on my toilet? I must. I just have like a hardware warranty at Home Depot or some bullshit.
I mean, I'm sure you may be pretty pissed at that very shitty situation.
Thank you.
He's definitely gonna have to plumb to the depths of that one.
Oh God.
Unacceptable.
There it is.
Love of God.
So many puns. So many.
I was just imagining somebody coming over to take a look at my toilet and being like, "Yeah, no, this is your doing. This is not hardware malfunction. This happened because of what you do and what comes out of your body." But anyway, back to the Steam Deck, the steaming deck. I do think it's kind of neat as a mini computer because it is using NVMe SSD storage. It has a great RAM solution. It's using a laptop processor. It is a mini computer, and it does actually. Oh, it's an AMD Zen 2 CPU. So and the GPU is also AMD. So good on Steam for using AMD. I'm sure they did it for monetary reasons, not because AMD is so cool. But and they're using 16 gigabyte LPDDR5.
Yep.
That's nice RAM. So
yeah, they made the right choice on some of that.
Yeah, and this hardware looks really nice.
The one thing I disagree with on their choice is their fucking SD reader. For fuck's sakes, why? Why have your expandable storage as a fucking SD card? Other than they're trying to make it like a goddamn Switch. It's a fucking PC. Why not give it an external anything? A fucking M2 fucking slap it in there, kind of like the fucking series. Whatever.
The internal storage, Gabe has confirmed that it will be an upgradable M.2 slot inside.
Ooh.
Yeah, inside. But they're external for easy access. Would have been nice if you could have just slotted it a fucking. You know what I'm saying? Why an SD card? That's just
USB.
Come on, something. Fuck it, I don't care. Just not that.
So they're talking about it's kitted with a speedy NVMe SSD. Well, okay. Oh, and all three offer micro SD for further expansion. We suspect that it's fast. We suspect the faster micro SD, the better for optimal game load times. So yeah, it will be.
It also has It also has a dock for connecting to external displays, wired networking, USB peripherals, power,
Sold separately.
and a powered USB-C hub. It can use a powered USB-C hub if you've got one lying around.
Of course,
That's
it's
actually
separate.
kind of neat.
They're not gonna throw in a fucking monitor with your Steam Deck. Buy a Steam Deck and get a TV. Yeah, then I would actually get one.
That'll be the next time you're gonna buy a car. That'll be the deal. You know, buy the new car, get the Steam Deck and a fucking TV.
Yeah.
And
Why-
fucking
why
Kia.
not? Yeah,
You know
right.
what now?
A car, asterisk.
Easy. I drive a Kia. Okay.
That's fine. I drive a Prius. We both have big vaginas.
Oh my.
I'm sorry, Masami. I didn't mean to insult your glorious vagina. I'm sorry, Kosen. I didn't mean to insult his whatever.
It was more of I would never have guessed you drove a Prius unless it's a big fucking joke because that amuses me privately.
I've said that like 50 times.
I only heard you on the 51st time.
Okay, all right. Well, fair enough. Now you know. Now you know my horrible, not secret.
His not secret shame.
I won't have to pry into that one.
He saves that gas money so he can buy more beer. Okay.
I mean, that's fair.
That's true. Yeah.
That's fair.
Priorities.
Right. This could go downhill so fucking fast. As if it hasn't already. Yeah, and Jinx, you owe me a Coke.
The legal or the illegal kind, or the old recipe, which is definitely the illegal kind.
Look, whatever you got in South Dakota.
Meth. No.
I was about to say there's a couple of white powders and
You owe me a Coke. She just hands me a baggie of meth. Thank you.
I mean, I'm not trying it out for you. I like my teeth.
Oh yeah, no, for sure. Oh gosh. Okay, so speaking of drugs, the Steam Deck is slightly bigger than Switch.
Slightly.
Yeah, it's also. So that's the other thing here. Like, it is heavy. The Switch weighs just under a pound. This thing is clocking in. I think it said 1.5 pounds.
Yeah, it's almost twice the weight.
Yeah, which is
I'm
not sure how big a deal that is, but after a while, if you're sitting there playing this thing for 5-6 hours, I'm sure you're gonna notice that.
Yeah.
Which means that you need to go to the gym and get swole, as all gamers should be. If you can't carry 1.5 pounds for 6 hours. And the other thing that PC Gamer, at least, is pointing to is that the battery life, depending on what you're doing, you can play Portal 2 for 4 hours on the Steam Deck before you need to power it. If you limit it to 30 FPS, you're going to be playing for 5 to 6 hours. So as far as gaming times go, we all know hardcore gamers these days don't just take their phones / Steam Decks into the bathroom and play them while they're performing their ablutions. It's a full-time job here. It's a full-time fucking job.
Yeah.
So for some reason, I just pictured somebody using this as it's like you're so addicted to cigarettes that you can't take a 45-minute train ride without smoking. So you're so addicted to gaming that you get off of your TV at home, you play your Steam Deck while you're going to the train or to the subway. You get on the subway, you play your Steam Deck, you get off the subway, and you're at your friend's house, and you drop the Steam Deck and start playing again. I see this as a horrible way to encourage people to further their gaming addictions.
It brings more people to the glory of PC gaming, sir. I mean, it makes it easy. People want easy, and that's pretty much fucking handing it to them. Outside of the fact that it's Steam OS and they're trying to put Windows on it, but you know.
What I'll be most curious to see is what games are going to be available or supported, or
Well,
are
with
developers going to be making games specifically for this platform?
Well, it's
that's
a
a
good
good question, but what they're
because
using for SteamOS is Proton, which is used for Windows and whatnot, or play Windows games and all that shit.
Well, yeah,
so
it
yeah,
says that SteamOS is based on their a custom Linux.
Yeah, and they're
Yeah,
changing it up to Arch Linux, but yeah, Proton's the link layer, so it'll play fucking native Windows games.
it will. And
But the
the other thing,
compatibility is questionable, but maybe by the time it releases, it'll be better. It's hard to
Well,
say.
but the big
you
thing
can
more
wipe.
than anything is going to be the fact that you're doing it on a completely different control scheme. Like that's what's going to be interesting. Is like yeah, they could probably make it so that that device could play whatever games are in your Steam library, but how are you going to translate control schemes over?
I guess for a game like what's a game on Steam where you use a hell of a lot of controls? Warframe is kind of doable. Obviously, they
I
have
mean,
partial controller support.
yeah, there are plenty of games with controller support to varying degrees, and those would probably be fine. But well, I mean, even with that, the Steam Deck, how I actually need to take a better look at the controllers on it, but it's not a shit ton of buttons, is it?
Well, it's
And that looks like
again,
about as much as you get on like an Xbox controller, just
Well,
split in
it's
Right,
also
half.
got
right.
back paddles, though. It's got the extra buttons in the back for the games that need more buttons.
Okay, so yeah, it
Because you
looks
need
like
more
it would be
buttons.
able to handle any game with controller support pretty easily.
And just as a
Um,
quick side note, you can get rid of the Steam OS off of it, and according to IGN, who got some hands-on time with the device, you can put Windows onto Steam Deck.
Yeah.
So for an
It,
operating
it,
system, it looks like the architecture supports multiple operating systems. As for the control scheme, what Omega is saying, yeah, I'd imagine anything with controller support on the Steam store is not really an issue. But as for the things that do not have controller support, I'm not sure how they would be adapted. But they
oh,
definitely could
easily
be
because
if it's that open.
Steam are remapping keyboard and mouse to controller buttons.
Mm.
That's
Sometimes that's specific to games. Omega can tell you all about that, especially with the Halo Master Chief Collection.
I
Steam
never
can't do
said it
shit.
was. I never said it was a good solution. I'm just saying it's a solution they're using. This
All
is
right.
Valve,
Valid
okay?
point. Yeah, no, valid point. But yeah, that's about the end of this article. The big takeaway from here is limited battery life, but a good thing about it is that you can put your own operating system on it if you don't like the Steam OS. The hardware on it looks very impressive. I can only imagine how hot it gets in your hand, seeing as it has an AMD CPU and GPU. And
That's
I
part of the
could
reason for it
just
being bigger, though. They've got some cooling in it, though. It's also part of the reason it's a bit thicker, aside from just better fucking hardware. Get some serious heat sinks up in that bitch.
thick.
now is it supposed to be something where you can like attach it to a TV and all that jazz?
Yes.
Yeah.
yeah, well, it's gonna have, like I say, there's a
You,
dock that has all kinds of connectors, including
Good.
or you could just use
connectors
the
for external
USB-C hub.
monitors.
Nice.
But it's sold separately, unlike with the Switch, where that all comes as part of the kit.
Right.
Silus, wait, Silus, is an actual dock? Do they sell a dock that you plug this thing into?
Yeah, good. It's gonna be sold separate. Yep.
Okay.
Or you could just use a USB-C hub. So
Oh, yeah.
whatever.
Okay,
Yeah, that would
difference
work.
between Steam Deck and Steam Dock. Steam Deck Dock.
Yeah.
I'm gonna buy my Steam Deck Dock.
Put your deck in the dock.
Ooh la la.
I wish Leetness was here. We could talk about our decks.
And docking your decks?
That's a really old New Zealand meme. Sorry. So yeah, that was one of the big ones that came out that made it into our chat. Or, yeah, let's see, what was the other one? That was Scalpers resell Nintendo Switch OLED model pre-order. That was from U0 if you want to talk about that. Or we could go to War Thunder fan says tank is inaccurate, leaks classified military technology.
Oops.
Oh no, sorry. He leaked classified military documents in order to prove that a tank on War Thunder was inaccurate.
Oh, I saw that article. That was fucking hilarious.
I kind of want to talk about this dipshit.
Why?
Let me pull this up. This is great. There's nothing like trying to win an argument by leaking classified military technology.
I'm fucking right. I can prove it.
So the player posted secret info about the UK's Challenger 2 tank to prove that War Thunder's modeling is wrong. Seriously, just the way that it looks is wrong, and that made him pissed off?
Nothing to do with how it functions in the game, just the fact that it looks wrong.
And maybe it looks wrong because they didn't have access to the classified documents to get that right. But now
Yeah,
they do.
Because they're classified fucking documents. Like, hey.
I was in a movie theater for the first time the other day watching Black Widow, which is a great flick, by the way. Or at
I
least I think
pirated
it was.
it. It wasn't bad.
Plus,
Yeah.
all I have to say is Rachel Weisz in a Black Widow suit.
It was nice.
Fair
Fair
really
enough. I give you that point.
Oh my god, this could turn into a movie podcast so fast. Yeah,
Yep.
all right,
And-
fine. But it's too late. I mean, I agree. It was a fun movie to watch. There was the best part of it was the what was he called? The Red Baron, the
Red Guardian.
Red Guardian. Yeah, he was the best part of the whole fucking thing. Not that I don't appreciate Rachel Weisz in just about everything that she does. But it's too late to do a fucking Black Widow backstory. The franchise is over. Marvel had it all planned out. They went from 2008 to 2000 whatever for Avengers Endgame, and that was it. It was all planned. It was done, and now it just seems like they're cherry picking whatever they can from wherever they can to try and make a TV series or a movie or something about it.
Well,
and,
okay.
Because Disney is
So-
greedy.
yeah, because
well-
you can make money off it.
There's that. But the reason why they did it this way is because of the fact they killed off Black Widow. That was actually intended the entire. Oh, spoiler alert.
If people haven't seen it by now, then they don't care enough to care.
Yeah.
But they did it because there's the opportunity to do it. Now, do I think they should have done Black Widow's backstory instead of Captain Marvel first? Abso-freaking-lutely. But
Even
why
I
did
would
we
agree
need-
with that, and
Why
I
did we
actually
need a
enjoyed.
Captain?
we didn't. We didn't.
I'm sorry.
Um,
I don't care
but-
for Brie Larson at all as a human being and also as an actor.
But on top of that, the TV shows, especially Loki, because I binged it this weekend because
I will actively stop paying attention if you talk about that. 'Cause
I'm
I
not.
want to watch it.
I'm
yet.
not.
Okay.
It sets up a lot.
I will
Yeah.
for completely different reasons because I got about 10 minutes in and I was just like, nope.
You got to get farther. Got to give it
Sorry.
at least 12.
Sorry, I can't do it. So, anyway, okay, yeah, so it could turn into a movie podcast real quick, but we'll finish this up if Omega wants to add anything or if you just threw it on here because it was funny. The War Thunder
Where
is
I was-
obviously it's a it's a war game where you play with tanks. The tank in question is a Challenger 2, which is a main battle tank in service in the British Army, apparently since 1994. And it still contains classified military technology, and one player demonstrated, quote, a little too much commitment to realism. The player, who claims to be a real-life Challenger 2 tank commander and former British member of the, a former member of the British Army's Armored Trials and Development Unit, complained that the War Thunder's in-game model is significantly off the mark in ways that leave it much more vulnerable to enemy fire than it is in the real world. And to prove the point, they posted classified images from the Challenger 2 Army Equipment Support publication, which is basically the tank user's manual. And the Defense Department in the UK picked up on this and said, essentially, by continuing to disseminate, you are in violation of Official Secrets Act as stated in the warning on the cover of the document, and the offense which can carry up to 14 years in prison sentence if prosecuted. And the moderator echoed that response in the post. And yeah, I don't know why. Was it just flat out stupidity? Or pride? Or what was it that made somebody actually post a classified document to prove that a tank model in a game was not accurate?
I would have to say
Hubris.
that.
Hubris. Mm.
I will say that where I was going with that is because of one of the little factoids they have before the movies is that there was something about when they filmed Air Force One with Harrison Ford way back in the dark ages. Um, they actually
1998
had
something.
they actually had to redo the inside of Air Force One because they actually kind of got it right.
Oh, oops.
Oh, really?
Yeah, or at least that I did not follow up on that. It was just something on the screen, and I'm like, you know what? That's halfways connected ish. In the vein of, things that should not be on screen that are.
No, that's totally valid. The only part of that movie I remember is when Harrison Ford throws Gary Oldman off the plane and says, "Get off my plane!"
Yep.
He's so mad. He got so mad in all his movies.
He's good at getting mad.
He is. He's good at playing a grumpy old man. What was the movie that came out recently where he had a completely CGI dog? It doesn't actually matter what the title is. I just thought it was funny at the time that Harrison Ford was in a movie where he starred alongside a CGI dog, and he was also in a movie where he starred beside a not CGI dog. He's actually in a trilogy, starring beside not a CGI dog. What's so difficult about just doing a not CGI dog? Chewbacca's a real thing. Anyway, unfortunately for this user, the dedicated War Thunder player in question, their efforts to make the Challenger 2 a tougher tank were for naught because the documents posted may have been accurate, because they're classified, they're not acceptable as a valid source of material, and so no changes will be made. So this guy is in a heap of legal trouble.
Ouch.
Womp womp.
Didn't really think that one through.
No, we did not. There is, from our backlog, Jesus Christ, our backlog is really going here. I'm not even to July 12th. Oh! I got to the point where Omega posted the Porky Pig rap from the new Space Jam movie.
Which, by the way, has been panned by the critics.
Do they not like it? What's wrong with them? It's a kids' movie. It's supposed to be fun, lighthearted.
Yeah, well. I don't know the reasoning. I didn't read the reviews, nor do I like reviews because I'd rather see if it's good or bad on my own.
My only complaint about the Space Jam movie was that Lola Bunny was wearing too many clothes.
Chips Fedora, have a good evening.
Yep. There needs to be at least one moment during the podcast where I prove that I'm just a total, utter garbage human being.
Wow.
Who did we lose? Omega. Welcome
Sorry
back,
about
sir.
that.
That's okay. There were two articles up here. One of them I'll just go over quickly. Masami posted an unopened Super Mario 64 cartridge sold for a record $1.56 million. It was
Jesus.
Super Mario 64, and it is an original unopened cartridge. And the auction broke the previous video game record, which was $870,000 for an unopened copy of The Legend of Zelda.
Wow.
So
It's
yeah,
pretty awesome.
There's
Rich millennials buying back nostalgia.
what do you think? That's the whole thing, though. Yeah, what's he gonna do with that, or what's the buyer, whoever it is, gonna do with that? Just stick it on a shelf and be like, "Hey."
Or if he really wants to see the world burn, he'll open it and play it.
I mean, it's not like it's hard to get a copy of the game. So
right,
if he wants to play the game, I'm sure he could play the game. This is just, some collector who's got far too much disposable income, who saw a chance to own, a piece of his childhood
Look at my
in
balls.
the original condition that it was. I can see the appeal, if I'm being honest. If I had more money than I knew what to do with, why the fuck not throw it away on something like that?
I was remembering the episode of The Simpsons where Homer was Mr. Burns' monkey, basically, just going around humiliating himself, and Burns would pay him money to do it. And at one point, Burns gave Homer a whole bunch of money to buy Radioactive Man copy number 1 from Comic Book Guy. And Homer went in there, gave him a briefcase full of money, and Comic Book Guy went through this whole ceremony of getting it out and putting it in Mylar and being like, okay, it's perfect now. And Homer just tears it open and eats it in front of him.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, so yeah. Live stream of cracking that $1.56 million cartridge open. But the other
That would
one,
be pretty hilarious.
I don't know if we want to talk about this. Excuse me, we did go through a Red Dead phase, but there is a Red Dead update, and I did notice the other day in Steam, I downloaded it, it was a couple gigs. First of all, there's a new event going out with a whole bunch of new criminal activities, and this comes on the heels of a story that Omega posted about a lawsuit, which we previously covered on this podcast, about the Pinkerton Agency filing a royalty claim against Red Dead Redemption 2 because RDR does portray the Pinkerton Agency, and the real-life Pinkerton Agency said, no, you use our name and you give us money. But Pinkerton has essentially dropped that case. Omega, if you have any detail on that, or if that's
basically, it was said that seeing as the Pinkerton Agency is legitimately a part of history, they are allowed to be used. And they've been used before in plenty of TV shows and other forms of art, so basically that argument won the day.
So that's
effectively their name is public domain.
Well, they have. I mean, maybe
like
the article says
their existence in that time is a matter of historical record.
I was just curious, real quick, about how long the Pinkerton Agency has been around. It may not say in this article, but
it was founded in Chicago in 1850.
That's right. Yeah, I just saw it.
The Pinkerton National Detective Agency, and Take-Two's argument was that they played a key role in the history of American law enforcement and taming of the Wild West. Agents were employed by the U.S. government to enforce federal law and hunt down fugitives. So, like Jesse James, Butch Cassidy, Sundance Kid, all those names that are huge parts of pop culture and media, the nemesis that they were often being chased from, the law, was the Pinkerton Detective Agency.
So, and just to keep on going there, Take-Two claimed that because of their centrality? Because of their centrality in the zeitgeist of the American West, Pinkerton agents have long been a staple of workers in historical fiction. And that historical fiction, I have seen a couple TV shows and at least 2 movies that deal with Pinkerton, or have Pinkerton agents in them. Would suffer greatly if trademark claims like this one could even possibly succeed. So, I usually enjoy giving Take-Two a whole bunch of shit, but in this case, I agree. And we probably brought this up the first time we talked about this article. It was a little bit hypocritical for Pinkerton to even come up with this. Like, why zero in on this specifically? When,
money.
It is. It's clear there, but there are so many other ways to make money. Like, just, attach a little bit of a royalty to any TV show where you have a Pinkerton character, or... Chris, were they in Untouchables? Did they have Pinkerton?
Well, But the point here is that they can't.
Right,
That's the
exactly.
point. They have no claim to it. They can't ask for royalties or they have no right to any of that.
Right, okay, so Murder on the Orient Express, the latest one that came out with Kenneth Branagh, there's a guy who says that he's a Pinkerton agent in there, and he makes a point of it. It's a plot point. So there's a movie that grossed hundreds of millions of dollars internationally. Why not go after something like that too? So it's interesting that they picked a target, and I'm glad that they failed.
Well, I think the reason for that is because it's untested law. It's settled
Sure.
that TV as an art form is allowed to do that. And we are still in an age where there's debate over whether or not video games are art or a consumer product. And, it talks about it in this article. Part of Rockstar's argument was that they described Red Dead 2 as an interactive film. And, it's funny that they say that because I know I talked about it to Masami because her and I played Red Dead the most. Playing Red Dead 2, you feel like you're in your own movie, and sometimes the plot of your movie intersects the plot of somebody else's movie.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's what that game feels like, and it's awesome. And,
It is.
yes, it absolutely is an interactive film. I buy that 100% from Rockstar. And, precedent is well established that you can use historical figures like this in films. And, this is just more getting to the nature of video games as an art form.
Well,
and I think that's what they kind of realized and why they dropped their case when Rockstar made this countersuit and laid out their argument.
It isn't the same topic, but it is tangential to it, going back to are video games an art form or not. Even though this case just came to a close in its 2021, it was back in 2018 when Germany lifted the total ban on Nazi symbols in video games because Wolfenstein, what was it? I forget the exact title of the game, but the Wolfenstein game came out. And usually for games that have Nazi iconography, there's a specifically different version for Germany, but somebody went to court in Germany and said that this is historical, this is a work of art, and the court accepted it, and Wolfenstein became the first game released in Germany that has Nazi iconography in it instead of being censored.
Yeah.
So
well, I
there's
remember
precedent
we talked
internationally.
about that.
There's precedent internationally that video games are art.
Yeah, we talked about that. Just to continue down that tangent, one of the things that we discussed was whether or not it would open the floodgates to all of a sudden just Nazi imagery being everywhere in games. Has that happened in Germany?
No, it has not. This is yeah, it is. It would be one of those legal concerns that, like, okay, now there's precedent that video games are art, so all the video games can now have swastikas in them. But no, that hasn't happened. It doesn't seem like anybody is pushing that at the moment, at least. 3 years later, nobody is pushing.
Yeah, well,
it's almost as if, and follow me on this, people don't give a fuck.
I thought you were going to say that people were acting like adults, and I was going to be like, no, that's too far.
I mean, seriously.
Well, it seems like the Germans are.
Yeah, apparently the Germans are actually taking this the way it's supposed to be taken.
Yeah. Someone made a cogent argument as to why it should be allowed. The German government was like, okay, don't go crazy with it. And the Germans didn't go crazy with it.
Imagine that.
The German High Court went, that's a good one.
That's a good fun. The one that I'm really curious about, there's no reason why they would do it at this point. THQ put out the Company of Heroes games, and they are still widely played, but they're not being updated because they're ancient. That's another one that is popular across Europe, and that's another one that has historical Nazi iconography in it. So that would be another game that I could see getting a German release if they make Company of Heroes 3. I'm not sure if they're working on that or not, if it's already a thing. But again, that's a legitimate cause for it. All those games take place during World War II. They're all about the British, the Americans, and the Germans. And I'm sure one day they'll put the French in there somewhere. You can have a platoon of French soldiers, and when they get shot at, they surrender. It'll be extremely historically accurate.
Silly French surrender monkeys.
Oh, Simpsons references. But anyway, yeah.
Oh.
That's the bulk of what came up here, unless we want to talk about how Discord buys an AI anti-harassment company to help moderate its millions of servers.
It's just, I just threw that on there so that we could all just have fun with the knowledge that all of our messages are being read by robots.
That's fun.
Everything we say to each other.
I need to start making more Al-Qaeda jokes. Yeah, that's that should be about. Well, I keep on saying that should be about it, and then I keep on coming up with these minor articles. Diablo 2 Resurrected is getting a bigger shared stash.
I figured you guys would be enthused about more tabs.
It doesn't
Wait,
matter.
shared stash. So I guess that's your stash that goes across different characters.
Yep.
I don't remember there being 2 stashes in the original Diablo 2. Were there?
Me either.
I thought that was just the one.
I thought each character had their own.
No, I thought you could share stuff between characters.
I mean, now that we're talking about it, I'm sure that. No, I kind of remember it too.
I can
The
honestly
first
say
one
I had
didn't,
no
but
clue.
the second one I thought did.
First one for sure didn't. Yeah.
No, the first one did not. I remember putting way too many hours into the first Diablo, but you know.
Dude, did you ever get the Hellfire expansion?
Oh god, I don't.
For the first one?
That's a long fucking time ago.
This is what I remember about that. So Diablo comes out, Blizzard makes Diablo, and then somebody gets in there and figures out how to code an expansion onto it. I'm 99% sure that the Hellfire expansion was not official, but it came on its own CD, and you could install it, and you could get a new character class and some new gear. And it was a huge deal at the time. I was just like, holy shit, an unofficial expansion pack. This is awesome. This is the future of gaming. Gamers will make expansions to games. Yeah.
And yeah, look what we have now.
Womp womp. But Diablo 2, I know that Linus is real excited about this. Will be coming out in September, I believe. So after the closed alpha, Blizzard decided to give... okay. When it comes to a player's personal storage chest, quote, we understand it's serious business, Blizzard writes. The change will enable players to better organize their loot across 3 tabs, with 100 slots each of storage space, and store many more items. This is great, so the only thing that I also want to read on here is that you can now stack gems. I'm not reading that, though. It says numerous quality of life updates as well.
We're not gonna list them individually, but there's a lot of shit. Here you go.
Yeah, right. Yeah, the big reason why a lot more stash tabs would be necessary in Diablo 2 is because item stacking was not a thing for anything.
No.
Which was a little bit of a pain in the butt. But yeah, Diablo 2 coming soon. .tm.
Yeah.
Alrighty. So, that was an hour and a half. We got off to a little bit of a late start. That was my fault. I'm sure people can figure out why if they listen to my rant at the beginning of the podcast. Fucking refrigerators, man.
And technology.
Alright, one more time. Let's go over to the Zero Cam. What's up, Zero? 110%, the zero cam is still here. All right, and we are back. Or we are done. So yeah. Thank you everybody for coming on this Church of Chonkwij podcast. Thank you, Silus, for joining us. It was a pleasure.
Always.
Always a pleasure.
And yeah, we'll be back next week, same time, same place. So till then, penis. Everybody say penis.
Penis.
Penises.
No.
We mean no. Okay, all right.
Bye.